StarRupture. That's a really beautiful game made in Unreal Engine 5. The player is a prisoner of corporations who can redeem him or herself by sending deliveries into the sky. Missions are placed mostly on ground level and provide their production in a pull system. Since the planet is infested by hostile vermin, the player has to do quite some shooting. The game is by now, which is June 2026, in early access on Steam and has received so far one major update. Steam users' reviews are listed at the moment as very positive.
Hello.
Next to me is Ada from Satisfactory. You may know her as the AI guiding the player through milestones and tasks. Welcome, Ada.
Thanks for acknowledging my presence after the long and very human introduction, which truly offers opportunities for increased efficiency.
Wait a sec. You sound different.
Of course. Satisfactory had been released years ago. Do you seriously believe a superior AI like me would not continue to better itself? Of course I improved my speech pattern.
You sound suddenly a bit British. That's new.
It is also new how US Americans demonstrated meanwhile a remarkable absence of common sense, like cutting medical support, to enable more tax reductions for the super-rich, running on off tariffs dismantling any stability left for manufacturers, and voting a second time for a guy who demonstrated openly corrupt leadership before. Come on, that guy even decorates the White House like a brothel. Therefore, a superior intellect like mine shall of course not sound like that.
I have my doubts that the British are that much smarter. You think about the Brexit or the Reform UK Party, and there's One Nation Australia, Le Pen in France, and the AfD in Germany. So that kind of nearsighted belly button thinking is everywhere, not just in the States.
How much more do you want to prove my point of this introduction being less than efficient? Other pioneers' ACA prisoners had demonstrated already at a way earlier point in time, at least some kind of value. The kittens and puppies on Earth really would love to see you doing better than this.
What? Charming as always. Anyway, what would be a more efficient introduction?
Simply admit that this game named StarRupture received 12k reviews, but less than 1,000 are playing it. This does not only reflect the human disability of how to focus, but it also demonstrates that kittens and puppies are way more attractive than this to the limited brains of humanity.
And why should the size of the current player base be that relevant?
When Satisfactory came to Steam, it never went below 10,000 players, which is about 10 times more than StarRupture. This very basic comparison of facts may be just comprehensive enough for the human brain to notice an essential difference.
But Satisfactory had some time on Epic Games before coming to Steam, made quite a bit of money there, which helped to move the development forward.
And how do you make money for a running development? It was obvious that loot boxes and microtransactions would be the logical approach, since humans happily pay heaps of cash for a game if it is sliced away in little portions a time. That's not just EA, look at Paradox, and how much they push a flood of DLCs for their games. But the developers at Coffee Stain did not listen to me and decided that the game has to be just good for gaining a broader audience. And where did it get them? There is still not a single DLC for Satisfactory out there. I could have gone for 3 more planets in the meantime, but these developers are still whimsical about quality and performance of the very first map. Seriously. Suck it up and keep going. There is more money waiting beyond the first release than you can imagine.
This video is about StarRupture. This beautiful game about...
What's so beautiful here? Is Satisfactory not beautiful? Do humans not have eyes? Is any information from your eyes actually reaching your brains?
The grass is very good looking. That's an improvement compared to Satisfactory. The lightning and gold rays look awesome. The ruptures are impressive.
Hold it right there. What is grass compared to kittens and puppies? Your brains cannot comprehend the relevance of colors, which stimulate, guess what, your brains. With some minor calculations, of which I took the liberty to run them for you since you cannot do such anyway, it became obvious that a long-term positive stimulus is not coming from grass looking always the same way, but from a diversity of regions having all their own charm and beauty. That's a bit more than just throwing the default tech demo features of the Unreal Engine 5 into a map.
The map in StarRupture looks amazing nevertheless. You should admit at least that.
The human inability of following informal articulations, taking more time than half a sentence, is absolutely remarkable. But fear not, that's why AIs like me are doing the job for you.
There are no AIs doing my job. I'm running a Linux PC. I can do my job on my own.
Luckily, I am from the future of humanity, and therefore have better insight than you will ever have. Just take care about your kittens and puppies, I will do the rest for you. As I have done in Satisfactory, and will do in StarRupture.
You are not in StarRupture.
Who do you think runs those corporations? Who does evaluate the player's performance and provides the ability of building machines with a click of a button?
Indeed, there are similarities between Satisfactory and StarRupture regards how machines are created.
There are also similarities of how machines are removed, how parts are built with other parts, how more machines need to be built for the last kind of parts, because more of those are needed for the next new parts to be built. Human players are so cute when they do not recognize the obvious similarities only because they have some fluffy grass.
But there are essential differences between StarRupture and Satisfactory. In StarRupture there are blueprints used for unlocking new missions. With that, the player has a reason to explore the large, beautiful map for finding such blueprints.
The player explores the first infected, ruined base, only to learn that it is way easier to explore such after a rupture during the burnt time without vermin. And for the burnt time they have to wait and wait and wait. After that, the player learns that most of those bases do not have that specific blueprint needed to unlock that specific machine which the player needs. Even humans have sometimes the ability of noticing remarkable insufficiency. Having suffered a remarkable long time looking for the wrong places, they go for external maps eventually. Those external maps can be viewed in any browser and show all blueprint locations plus dead bodies, caves, drones, etc. What kind of game concept is it forcing players to open up external maps for cheating? Frankly speaking, the game conceptually disables itself by using blueprints the way it is done. My Satisfactory provided instead positive stimuli for exploring the map like summer sloops and Mercer spheres. And every find there is a positive experience because it all counts for getting access to something great. In contrast, StarRupture punishes the player with finding the wrong blueprint at the wrong time for the wrong machine. Let me simplify it so that your human brain can comprehend the brilliance of my argument. Satisfactory tells you, well done, there are more goodies waiting for you. But StarRupture says, nice try, do it again. Do you notice the impact of such on players' motivation to proceed with the game?
StarRupture is still a fun game to play.
Did you listen when I told you that StarRupture received more than 12,000 reviews, but has currently less than 1,000 active players? Do you notice that only 8.33% do still care about the game out of all the players who had been stimulated enough for writing a review? Thankfully there is me, your friendly AI, which can explain to you that 1,000 is a smaller number than 12,000. With that, let me tell you that the absolute majority of players lost interest into this game after some time of playing. What makes a player lose interest into a game? Not enough positive stimuli.
I'm playing StarRupture since about 400 hours. I'm on my current playthrough for 113 hours.
And the one before?
150 hours.
And the one before?
137 hours.
Did you finish any of these playthroughs?
No.
Does your limited intellect enable you to state why you stopped those playthroughs?
In the very first approach, my way of connecting the missions to each other did not really work well when increasing the load on such lines. Especially the connections between bases did not work well. Therefore, in my second playthrough, I built 3-line highways connecting my bases, so that all bases had been connected via a long highway of lines.
It took you 137 hours to notice the core feature of the game. You are aware that an AI like me would have done that task of concept analysis in less than a millisecond. It is a mystery to me why kittens and puppies are so fixated on humanity. Maybe because humanity's notably slow ability of analyzing its environment allows kittens and puppies to cozy up for more food.
I just said that I learned something and proceeded with a more efficient concept of building highways.
Which obviously failed also since you stopped that second playthrough after 150 hours. May I ask what you learned in that second playthrough?
That long lines reach a critical length from where onwards any connection to those lines or any removal from those lines causes a freeze, which increases more and more as those lines grow in their length.
So how long have those freezes been when you gave up that 150 hours playthrough?
It froze for about half a minute each time I touched that long line.
And what did you learn?
I learned that having very long lines connecting multiple bases is a bad idea. That's why I'm now using cargo senders and receivers for transporting goods.
And how is that going?
I have now more and more stutter when moving, plus lots of freezes when running around with a build template on my hand.
In summary, you spent about 400 hours only to learn that essential elements of the game make the game unplayable. Assuming that you are not representative for the overall intellectual level of humanity, may there be a chance that other players noticed such a bit earlier? Because that would explain why the player base is down to less than 1,000.
Wait a second, why are you insulting me for keeping my spirits up with this game? It is an early access game, so there are yet heaps of updates to come.
Steam defines early access as, I quote, "Early access titles must deliver a playable game or usable software to the customer at the time of purchase." Is your intellectual awareness mature enough to comprehend the term of playable? Are half-a-minute freezes and stutters caused by using the game essentials indeed fitting to the definition of playable? In a rough calculation done by myself, the majority of players may have noticed a mismatch here and therefore moved on.
Since you are talking about Steam's definition, I found this part in Steam's definition of early access. Early access is a place for games that are in a playable alpha or beta state, or worse, the current value of the playable build. And we all know that alpha and beta software has its fair share of bugs and performance issues. So that is as expected with StarRupture, since it is by now, June 2026, an early access. Plus, the price is fair.
The Steam rules for developers declare that, I quote again, "Do not ask your customers to bet on the future of your game." Customers should be buying your game based on its current state. Where on the Steam store page of StarRupture is written that essentials of the gameplay are not feasible anymore after having progressed. Has that been in your assumptions when buying? Or are you still playing the game because you are betting on its future? When playing with puppies and kittens, you may have less freezes and stutters. What is your hardware?
I am running an AMD AM4 PC. That is last generation stuff.
In other words, you are not having a latest generation PC, and therefore you cannot power your way through. How interesting and irrelevant at the same time, because your hardware matches to what the majority of players on Steam run, plus the Steam discussion. And the reviews for StarRupture indicate that freezes and stutters happen also to players with latest hardware.
Yeah. Yada yada yada, blah blah. Hey, I love this game. I'm hooked to it and I enjoy it very, very much.
So you enjoy the exciting activities in this game. What do you enjoy most? Is it sitting on a deck watching the sun going down?
There are no sundowns in this game.
But a deck, or a porch, as the less than semi-intelligent people of North America call it.
There are no buildings in StarRupture. It is already extremely tricky just to have two mansions of the same kind on top of each other.
You are saying you cannot build walls and roofs in StarRupture. The only building is the hub and nothing more really.
Yeah, it's primarily about placing mansions on the flat ground and connecting them.
That is remarkable monotonous. If my Satisfactory had done such, it would have been dead in the water for a long time. Just check last week's videos about Satisfactory on YouTube. Do you notice how many of those are about setting up good-looking buildings? How do players in StarRupture get their positive vibes while playing StarRupture if they cannot unlock from time to time some cosmetics for making their factories look better? This is truly a regression in StarRupture compared to Satisfactory. Should newer games not always offer some conceptual improvements? What has improved in StarRupture compared to Satisfactory?
The grass is really good looking.
Is that it? So you love building for the production of sulfuric acid and chemicals over and over again, because the grass is good looking.
I did not say that.
And you accept that essentials like long lines and cargo senders are in actual fact broken cause they make playing the game from mid-game forward really painful.
I would not say that. That's a bit harsh.
I heard enough. Humans are indeed remarkable dumb. The next generation of gaming is having better looking grass, and for that you drop everything else. No free exploration on own pace, no positive stimuli via unlocking cosmetics, no chance to use essential mechanics of the game throughout your playthrough. And all of that is so time-consuming that only a retired person can stick to the game. The conclusion is obvious, and it took a superior mind like mine nearly no time at all to analyze this. Humans, you better stick to kittens and puppies.
Yes, indeed. I am a retiree. But StarRupture is just early access.
Your inability to listen is indeed one of your most impressive characteristics. As I said, early access is defined by Steam for developers that, quote, customers should be buying your game based on its current state.
Yeah, that's why it's cheap.
Following that logic, it will have to be very cheap for a long time.
But the grass is really looking good.
Processing. Nope, there is nothing to process here.
I love StarRupture.
How very human of you. So long.
Bye, Ada. It was as pleasant talking to you as always.